Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by NmW and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are continuing our journey through this series of Healing Beyond Betrayal. And today we are joined again by our beloved therapist, Dr. William Washington, just to discuss something crucial, and that's finding closure and moving on after the betrayal. But before we bring Dr. Will to the stage, let's take a quick break. All right, it's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back. Hey, my beautiful souls, this is your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, and I am excited to share something special with you. Introducing my latest ebook workbook, Healing Beyond the Betrayal, a journey of growth, empowerment, and renewal. In these 55 pages, I offer you insight, heartfelt stories, and practical worksheets designed to guide you on your healing journey. So if you experience betrayal or you are seeking personal growth, this resource is made just for you. You see, it's time to reclaim your power and embrace renewal. So you can get your copy by visiting the seasonofselflovepodcast.com. And as a thank you for being part of our community, use the code HEALED09 at checkout to enjoy a 15% discount. So let's embark on this journey together because you deserve to heal, grow, and thrive.
Are you ready to transform your pain into power? Join us this September for the 30-day Healing Beyond Betrayal Challenge, From Hurt to Hope. Starting September 1st, embark on a journey of healing and self-discovery. Each day, you'll receive empowering lessons, practical exercises, and supportive community connections designed to help you overcome the hurt of betrayal and reclaim your joy. Don't let betrayal define your story. It's time to rise, heal, and rebuild a brighter future. Sign up today at theseasonofselflovepodcast.com.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, well, welcome back to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and today we are continuing with the conversation with Healing Beyond Betrayal. And today we have Dr. Will with us, our resident therapist. Hey, Dr. Will.
I am so happy and honored to be here.
Happy and honorable. Okay, I like
Yes.
that. HH.
Yes, had to bring the alliteration back real quick.
Right, so now we're nearing the end of this amazing series. So let me ask you a question.
Wow.
Right before, what has been one of the most memorable conversations of this Healing Beyond Betrayal series for you?
I think it was when you had me opened up like a can of worms. That was very memorable for me. When you had me out here with spilling my heart to all these viewers and listeners, and I never open up. I'm always like, no, I keep the profile, I just, And so I think for me, knowing that we've gotten so close, feeling safe with you, allowed me to let the listeners in on not only my own life, but just also just seeing me as human, not just Dr. Will, the amazing therapist.
Yeah.
No, so
I hear that. You put that exclamation point on there. Boom.
right, it's just real quick, just had to say that. Yes, yes. So I think I just want to say thank you for just, and also guiding me and teaching me some things about betrayal that I wasn't even aware of, and reframing my language around it too.
Yeah.
Right, because I have such a therapeutic focus that I think that you brought the real spirit and humanity of healing into that definition. So I
Well,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
that.
No, thank you. Thank you. You know, let me say this about you. Um, really, truly, even from the last few segments that we had with shows that we had, you had shared in one of the about, I think we had a question about therapy, the questions of what your therapist, and the way that you broke it down for you, for who, what you would say about you, or with the questions that they need to ask. I thought that was very telling of you. Because not only that it would show the humanity of you understand,
Mhm.
but it's not just the same cookie cutter with therapists, where they can come
Yeah,
in and not be afraid to be able to share their story and know that when they come in front of you, that it's not any judgment. Does that
yeah,
make sense?
yeah. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, I love the
And
way you said that.
yeah, and that
Mhm.
there is sometimes a wall. I laugh at this a lot. Even when I'm talking to past guests, I say I have no problem with being on the couch on the show. I say, Dr. Will, have me on the couch on the show, and I
Mhm.
welcome that because this is what we are. We are teammates in this.
Yes.
We are teammates in this game of life that we are playing here, and we're trying to win people's hearts for themselves. Does that make
Yes.
sense? Yeah,
Yes. I love that. That's
yeah,
such a great way to say that. And I think that you feel that the moment we start doing this,
yeah,
the moment you set it up very intentional. And I think that's kind of what this world needs a little more, is a little more intentionality.
yeah,
I need to feel the intentions of wellness from others.
yeah,
And that's so big.
yeah. Yeah. But again, I thank you for sharing. When we came back for this season, and I was like, Dr. We're gonna be like, for real, we starting off with this. I just knew you was gonna say for real. And you was like, oh, you coming in. You said you coming in hard with this. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
I was like, you catapulted, you slingshot, you put it all back, and you just let it go. I was like, I thought you were gonna do a little soft entrance, just like, hi, I'm back, and it's like, no,
No,
you're like, we
I'm
gonna do
not.
betrayal. I was like,
No.
oh, okay,
Oh yeah,
all right,
I'm diving. I'm a diver. I'm gonna
hmm
get right on in there. I ain't tipping my
yeah, that's free dive. You
toe
free
now.
diver. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I was like, you went big. I
Yeah,
love it.
let's get it. Let's get to the heart. Let's right there. Let's get
Hmm
there. And then from there, let's let's go.
I love it. I love it. Like I've learned to be in the passenger seat with you. I learned. I learned. I'm okay. I'm passenger prince. I'm okay. I'm a passenger prince. It's okay. I'm okay with that.
Like I'm
It's
like,
okay.
hold on, you in the passenger? Yeah, I'm right with you.
I just put the window down a little bit. I'm good. I'm okay.
All right, my beautiful people. Well, let's do this. You know how we always do it. We center ourselves before we get into the topic, and we have to because I'm kind of up here, so I need to kind of ground myself right now before we get. So, if you all could just get comfortable right now, close your eyes. Here we go. Find a comfortable position, either sitting or lying down, and gently close your eyes. Now, I want you to take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your lungs completely. And I want you to hold it for a moment. Now, exhale slowly through your mouth, letting go of any tension or stress. Now, I want you to imagine a warm and soothing light surrounding you. With this light represents love, acceptance, and strength. Allow this light to develop you, fill your heart with peace and resilience. And with each inhale, draw in positivity. And with each exhale, release doubt. as we explore today's topic. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes and return to the present moment. All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back. Thank you for sharing that moment with me. If you're new here to the Season of Self-Love podcast, this is something that we do every day, Monday through Friday here, just to help center us before we get into the topic at hand. And today, joining me again is Dr. Will Washington. Y'all might know him as our compassionate therapist with deep understanding of all of the betrayal and everything we talk about on this show. Like, seriously. Thank you, Dr. Will. So, question.
Mm-hmm.
No, we're not gonna go that. No. So let's talk about this. For you, especially in the field that you are in, how would you advise the approach of helping an individual to find closure after betrayal?
Yes. One question I love to ask my clients is, what does the finish line look like for you? So I asked that in the beginning of our sessions. So I need to, yes, I do the intake, do my diagnostic, do my treatment plan, mental status examination, all that, but then I ask, what does the finish line look like to you? And when they answer that, I think of their life in 8 different ways. So they might say, I just want to move on from all this. Right.
Okay.
And that's a great answer, right? Like, I want to move on from all this. But I also think of them in 8 different ways. I think about what's their physical health, their emotional health, their family health, their friendship health, their environmental health, their spiritual health, their financial, occupational health, their educational health. I think of how do those 8 different ways of living look like across that finish line, right? And I make sure that I get at least 5 of those in their sentence. At least 5. If I can get 5, we're pretty solid. It's pretty solid.
So and I'm being very honest, as you were saying that about the 8 things, and you say, if I get 5, then we right there, we good. What if that a client come to you and they just don't know? Like, they don't know. I just want to move on. And as you said, I was like, well, what does that look like? What does moving on look like for you? You understand what I'm saying? So even at that moment, how can we get them to just saying, we're moving on beyond, like, I ain't mad at him no more, or her no more, or whatever.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I translate that to, let's say I don't want to be hurt by him anymore. But when they say that means that's emotional health, right? So the way that they're dealing with stress is at a very high place. The way that they don't want to deal with them anymore, that's social health, that's relational health. The relationship with this friendship I'm grieving from, I'm going through, is not where I want it to be. I want to move on. I want to detach from this. And what they're also saying is, internally, I want to reconnect with myself.
Yeah.
Because they took so long to being something else that they need to find themselves again. So this is going to be a process. This is going to be a marathon. I tell people, ego is good for the sprint, not for the marathon, right? So I have to make sure I remind them, like, remember, this is a marathon, not a sprint. So if you're not ready for the marathon, then this will not be effective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think we're just living in general. I really do. And I've learned that in the past 10, 12 years of my life.
Yeah.
I've always been a sprinter. And learning how to slow down and become this long distance runner in marathon has been challenging, but also very fulfilling. So, because I said, girl, you that shit. You understand what I'm saying? That's how you see what you possibly can do when you truly go down and you really look at things. And I say this a lot. I know people say, Dan, you say that word a lot. That when you look at things from a different perspective, when you have a different set of eyes, a different pair of glasses on, when you're looking at something different, it makes so much more sense.
And I love it that you said that, because I can tell the difference between someone that is looking with their eyes and looking with their heart and looking with your
Mhm.
spirit. I can
Mhm.
tell the difference. I can see where you're looking, how you're looking at, because it's
Yeah.
the way that you respond to me, the way you value me in your own words.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
You know, I get quite a few questions to say, Naomi, why you do this? Am I forget like why I do what? And
Mhm.
honestly, it's like why I do what? And it's to know me. This has always been me. It's always
Mm.
been me. I believe that now I think I've had the courage to truly be bold and stand and create a platform, not only for myself, but for other like minded people that also are using their pain into power and making it a purpose. Does that mean in creating their purpose
Yeah.
and living through their purpose? I think each one of us have an assignment. I think every single one of us in this world have an assignment, but it's up to us to be courageous and willing to go through that, to understand what that is, to look at your different things, the different trials and tribulations as um, gifts, as lessons. And when we truly
Mm.
think about that, like, yeah, if you really sit down and you just went through some shit about 3 or 4 years ago, but you still here, you listening to this podcast, or you watching a movie, or you just
Right.
visited Dr. Will. Now you know you were strong enough to get through that because you're sitting here now. It's so messed up because it's that
Yeah.
simple. Yeah, it is. Now, what if you really go deep into it and say, okay, how I get there? Let me go back. How did I get there? Now, what was my action? Oh, now they get ready to show me some tools. Wait a minute, now I can sit
Mhm.
with that. You understand what I'm saying? Now I can
Yes.
kind of, from there. But that's when you have to do the work.
Ah, yes. Yeah. That's when you have to do the work.
That's when you have to do the work. So even though we're talking about this betrayal and we're talking about moving on, the question is, do you really want to move on? Or do you want to just forget?
Mm.
Because I'm gonna tell you this, you ain't gonna ever forget.
Yeah.
Even when you
Yeah.
got dementia, you ain't gonna forget
You don't. And I tell people, I was like, I'll forget you, but I'll never forget. Like, that's fine. But did you learn the lesson that you need to be with me?
that.
Forgive and learn the lesson. Because I can still hang out with you as long as, but if I didn't learn the lesson, then I'm never gonna allow myself to move on. Just that
Yeah,
simple.
just that simple. All right, show over. No, I'm just kidding. No.
The
No, that the end. No, but no, but seriously, when I thought about and I heard your voice in my head. He's like, oh, I can't wait to see how she gonna end this.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
Can't wait to see how she gonna end this. And,
This
and
is all the bang. I know it.
right, and here go my little retirement, my recovering perfection. Like, damn, like, okay, he'll put me on the spot. Let me see. I said, no, I'm not getting ready to do that to myself. What we get ready to do is, how can one move on from this? How can we really break it down to them to at least introduce them to moving on? Can I say that?
Mm,
Can I say that correctly? To introduce
yeah.
them to moving on.
Ugh. This to I'm gonna give a compass statement. I'm gonna give a
Okay.
compass statement so they can point north.
Mhm.
You have to. I say you get a piece of paper and you write this down. You say, I realize that it was never about me. It's not gonna mean a lot in the beginning. Not gonna mean a lot during the process. It's gonna mean a lot when you know you got through it. That's when that statement's gonna mean the world to you. We hold so much shame, burden, anger, rage, hurt, pain, and we allow the image or the thought of this other person or thing to mean so much more than ourselves.
Mm,
That's a lot of energy that was never about you. That was what they were going through. That's what they were doing. It has nothing. They have to forgive themselves. They have to go. Did you learn your lesson? Did you forgive yourself? Hey, I tried to be who I could have been. Oh, it wasn't enough? Okay. I
Mm,
realized that it was never about me. You can't push somebody else's tornado. You can't.
yeah,
And that's when you truly know that you've let go and moved on.
I love that. And why I say I love that, because honestly, it go back to one of my favorite books, The Four Agreements.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
And you said
Yep.
two. You said two agreements. You said two agreements. It's not about you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about you. And the second one, is what's the fourth one? The fourth one is that you only could do what you can do. No more, no less.
Yes.
No
Yeah.
more, no less.
Yes. And the beauty of it is I've learned for myself that even in my healing process now, I'm learning to love people in their capacity, not in mine. Because I have a very unconditional heart. Ooh, I can give you A through Z, but some people going to give you A through G. And I have to be okay, like, oh, you're stepped. I have to first accept that they only got G. They only got the G. Right? I have to accept that. Second one, I have to what can I do to make sure that I can be okay with that?
Yeah,
And then how do I learn to love them with that?
yeah,
And I don't have to give them everything else. That saves
yeah,
more energy for me.
yeah. Yeah, I
That's
like
my
how you
that's the
said that.
journey.
Yeah. I like how you said I really do. I truly do love how you just said that. I think because a lot of times we do get caught up in the betrayal of the action of it.
Mm-hmm.
And like
Yes.
you said, well, did you see what was the gift in it? What was the gift? What was the lesson that was
Mm-hmm.
learned through that? Because it was something that was happening in there that you're supposed to pay attention to.
Yes.
It was, did you miss it?
It's
And
not
why did
happening
you?
to you. It's happening for you and with
Yes,
you if you accept
yes,
it.
yes,
Yes.
yes, yes. And then that's the thing is that are you ready? Moving
Mm-hmm.
on meaning, and can I say this? Moving on meaning that you have to look at yourself naked, real raw and uncut in the mirror.
Yes.
Does that make sense? I'm
Mm.
not saying putting any blame on you that the betrayal was on you, but now we have to look at ourselves and say, okay, how I'm going to allow this to affect the way that I'm living today moving forward.
Yes. Mm.
So now when you say, I really want to, do you want to move on? So when you say, what does that look like? I like how you have like different words to different feelings of things and emotion. You said 8 different things. Okay,
Yeah.
for this, for family, for emotions, for self, for this. How in each one of those, how do you want to move on from that?
Yes.
And are you ready to move on? There be a possibility that you might not be able to talk or speak to that person ever again in life.
Mm.
So
It's
it's like
hard.
now are you ready to move on from the betrayal?
And it's really scary because your body, your physiologically, your physiological, your chemistry, you are literally detoxing from what your body is expecting you to do, the way you feel, the way you love, everything. Your body is ready, even for the amount of stress that you deal with that person. You're literally designed to manage with that. So
Yeah,
now you're detoxing from that. You go through withdrawal symptoms, and we don't know how we emotionally go through withdrawal. Not everybody has the same regimen. That's real.
yeah, that's real. That is real. It was something that I saw the other day. It was a statement that I saw about moving on. I was moving on or doing the work. And saying when you in a position where are you more are you more willing to just be comfortable and stay, or are you willing to be uncomfortable and move on?
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I love that. And not to be funny, but I've seen many of my clients who've worked for so long. We work for 6, 8 months, and then on the 8th month, they're just like, "I'm just sick of myself," and I'm like, "What?" And they finally realize they've learned so much that they can't learn anymore. They have to do
Mm,
it. They just got sick of themselves. They learned so much about themselves, that educational health. They learned so much about themselves that they just had to do everything else themselves. It's like, I can't learn anymore. I have to do this. And it was
Mm,
the greatest change when they put the change in their hands. They put it in my hands. And I didn't do nothing. I kept it still.
yeah.
And then they took it back and they started doing it.
They started doing the work.
Hmm.
I'm interested to find out anybody that started with you. Let's say they went to 8 month, left, came, and then come back. Have you yourself seen the change in the work that they've done with themselves?
Yes. The first thing I noticed is that they're more on time. First off. Two, they actually use my language. So they stop speaking in trauma language. They start speaking in healing language, which is amazing. And so they're expressing themselves already processed.
Mhm,
And the third thing I notice is that when they come back, they correct themselves in the session. I don't correct anybody. I don't say, "Oh, this was wrong." Let's reframe this, or let me give you another perspective. But they'll actually correct themselves and then correct themselves in front of me and continue the conversation. And I say less.
mhm,
So when they come to me, they're coming for maintenance and they're coming in for micro adjustments, right?
mhm.
And I love that because the conversation is so much smoother, right? I don't have to sit and think about how they're processing. I trust that they trust themselves,
Yeah,
right? And they trust themselves the way that I was always trusting them from the beginning,
yeah.
right? And so there's a certain level of self-trust that just comes with a level of internal confidence. It's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, and what I say, because you see them coming in where they don't trust themselves. They trust someone
Mhm.
else, and you actually watch them as they grow and as they come to truly fall in love with themselves, because that's a part of trusting who you are and what you're doing in life. So just to watch
Mhm.
that just evolve, all in
Yeah,
front of you, that's amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I have one client in particular that they've known me since I was an intern.
Oh,
So
wow.
like, so they like me. That I was like, and they just leave. They come back. I'm like, you can get another therapist. Like it's been, like you saw me when I was, they're like, oh no, you're great. I'm like, that's wild how you found me when I switched jobs and companies. You somehow found me, and even when they come back with issues, it's not I didn't learn enough. It was, I know what to expect from myself when I talk to you.
Mm,
I'm a reminder of what they know that they can get through. They're like,
yeah.
I know I can get through it, but when I see you, I feel like I can get through it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, when are you gonna look at yourself? Like when you look in that mirror and know that you're the one that's doing that. You should look in the mirror and see yourself, not me.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a level of self-love that they're learning to embrace now. And so they learn the work. Now they're learning the ability of self-love.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to watch that.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. All right, so I got a question for you. Okay, this is for our listeners. What are some steps that our listeners can take to start finding closure in their own life?
What steps they can take to find closure in their own life?
Hmm.
I would say first, make the vision of what closure looks like if you had all the power and resources in the world. Then give yourself the vision of power if no one would ever judge or shame you for what you had to do. What's the difference? And you'll find the difference in the middle. Like, how can you find a halfway point? Right? That's the first part. So make the vision first. The second part is understanding what the lesson is, right? Write 3 lessons about this, right? And see, can I live through these lessons? So your goal is to live through these lessons that you wrote. Can you live through these lessons? And then the last part is just going right back to home again. It's just understanding, did I do enough? It's either yes or no. And I hate to make it so blunt like that, because the third part is really about having non-negotiables. You have to create non-negotiables for the last part. And was this enough? Yes or no? Was this enough? Yes or no? Was this enough? Yes or no? You have to make your non-negotiables. I will not do this. I will not do this. I will not do this. Because what happens in the process is that we get tired,
Yeah.
right? Because you can burn out from healing. We don't talk about that part. You can burn out from healing. Sometimes you gotta go back real quick just to and get mad against yourself, right? So it's important to make non-negotiables because you will fall short, and you will because you're supposed to be growing. That's why they're called growing pains.
Yeah.
Right? It's a growing pain.
Yeah.
So I think that those are the three things.
Yeah. You know, as you said that about healing, about sometimes it can be, you know, kind of draining. I remember one day you sent me a text.
I did.
Yeah. You sent me a text and you had asked me a question about it was actually 3 questions that you asked. And I was like, no, I'm not. One of them was like, are you taking care of your mind, or are you taking care of something today? And I thought that was just so that was special. And what I mean by that was special because a lot of times we continue to just keep moving. We're moving. And we never take that moment just to readjust ourselves, even if it's for when we talk about mindfulness and we talk about meditation. But even in that moment, we're still moving. We're still moving, and we're not reminded of some things of what we need to do right here, you know, right here. And I just reminded me for that, and I thank you. And that's why I was like the text from text by Dr. Will from Dr. Will. I think that's something, and even in your podcast, you should put that text from Dr. Will. And I'm giving you a new one. That's the new thing. You know, you want to
I'm gonna
text.
start a podcast, but if I start a podcast, I need you to be my first guest. I need you to be my first guest. Don't do that. I need to be the first one. I need it.
Yep, I'm there. Let me know. I'm there.
All right.
I'm there. All right. So our next question: how important are boundaries in this healing process?
So first we talked about this a while back. Boundaries are meant to protect others from yourself. Boundaries are meant to protect others from yourself. So you don't make boundaries to protect yourself from other people, because then that means that you're putting energy on other people. Put the energy back on yourself. So for me, I call them landmines, MINDS, landmines. So when people are walking to me and I know that what they're doing might trigger me, I go, hey, if you go do this, it's going to really get me angry. Don't do that. I do it before they step on it so that they learn who I am. Because the rule is teach people who you are. Do not let them learn you.
Yes.
Right? Teach people who you are. Do not let them learn you.
Yes.
So important.
Yeah.
Right? And so boundaries are awareness of yourself. What is your limitation and your capacity with the things around you? And so you have to make a perimeter for yourself. What is your emotional perimeter? Right? I can only go this far for this long, and then I lose it. So it's important during the healing process to understand your capacity. What is your capacity? What is your emotional equity? Right? What is your emotional equity? So important.
What is your emotional equity? All right. So I know we talked briefly about moving on, but with moving forward, it can be, you know, like I said, if you're not ready, are you truly ready to move forward? What practical advice can you offer to those who are ready to move on, but aren't sure where to start?
The practical version?
Give it the Dr. Will version.
Yeah, I'll give the Dr. Will version because the practical one was funny because I didn't want to say that one. The Dr. Will version is move with purpose, not motive. Right? We want to move with purpose. So you moving on shouldn't be, well, if I do this, then this is going to happen. Well, if I do this, then this is going to happen. Well, if I do this, then I'll never have to be there again. If I do, you're gonna be doing that your whole life. Your purpose is, what do I want to be known for when I move on?
Mm.
What do you want to be known for? When we can answer that, and when you can answer that, it doesn't matter where you go. Because remember my rule, my fifth principle, purpose is the human compass. If you stay in the purpose of what do you want to be known for, it doesn't matter who you meet, where you're at,
Yeah.
because you're going to have that integrity.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. So ask yourself, what do I want to be known for? Write that out on paper. Make the 3 lessons that you learned, and then write your non-negotiables. And good luck.
I like that. I like that. All right. So we got a few questions from our listeners. All right.
Mhm.
One, they say, how can they truly know that they found closure?
You ever watch a scary movie and then you watch it 10 years later and you're like, I can't believe this thing scared me. You know, that's what it's like when you have true closure,
Yeah.
right? Or you broke up with that boy or that girl, and then you look back at him again. The picture's like, what was I
Right.
thinking? Ooh, ugh. I still think about, what was I thinking? Also, if you have the humility of when you're back in that situation and you have humility, some of the most healthiest people I've ever met in my life have some of the best humility about their own problems and their trauma, where they can laugh and be like, I can't believe I did all this. Just being able to laugh at it now because they realize how little they thought and how much they've expanded since. So being able to go back to that scene, or being back in that situation, or being back in a moment that might remind them of that power dynamic that might be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
and having peace in that.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. Last. How do I rebuild trust in myself and others after being betrayed?
So to rebuild trust in yourself, you're gonna have to learn yourself again. What do I like? What do I don't like? What am I trying to learn? You have to learn to live in yourself again. So that's how you rebuild that trust in yourself. And to rebuild trust in others, it goes back to understanding that you have to love people at their capacity,
Yeah.
not your expectation. Because the
Yeah.
truth is that your expectation is boundless because you control it.
Right.
Everybody always says, if you don't love probably in your expectations, you'll never be disappointed. Okay, like we get that. That's a cute phrase, but that doesn't hold any accountability towards the capacity of what you actually live. If I'm
Right.
coming from my own world, I have unlimited power because I own my world. So
Hmm.
of course, I'm going to be mad at other people because they're not living my world. But what I can do is love you for your capacity. And so
Yeah.
when you learn to love people for their capacity, that gives you the boundary to have trust and faith in other people, and be around people that remind you of the good parts of you,
Exactly.
and honor
Exactly.
them for that and acknowledge them for that.
Yeah. Exactly. Um, I just want to share this before we leave with
Mhm.
the moving on and building. First of all, I want to thank y'all for joining me in this series. This has been an amazing series. And I'm
Mhm.
glad we kind of ended it with the moving on forward. And I just want you all to just be very honest with yourself when going through this journey. Don't be so hard on yourself. They're like, I gotta get it right this first time. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm,
You know what I'm saying?
yes. We are so hard about that.
Yeah,
We are
you
so hard
know.
about that.
So if you have to come back and listen to these shows over again, or even that 30-day, that's free. You can go back and get that and do those
Mhm.
challenges all over again. There are resources and tools all over the place that you can definitely go that can help you step by step. And then when you are ready to go see a therapist, you know one right here, Dr. Will. And then I'm right here, a transitional life coach right here. And I'm not just saying this just to plug us in. I'm just speaking real, with it.
Mhm.
Throughout this series, we had some amazing guests that are also transitional life coach that might speak your language.
Wow.
What I do love about opening this platform up for other voices and other languages on here is that I want to be able to cater to whoever stops and listen. You understand? Sometimes we have first time listeners on here. And maybe I don't speak your language, or maybe Dr. Will, but maybe it was somebody that you heard before that was on here, whether it was Melissa or Jesse or, Dr. Valenti, whoever, and you're like, oh, that's my language. Then I want you to go and search, go and do the work. It's great to sit on this platform with Dr. Will, and we go back and forth and we talk about, everything. And because we're living our lives and we're putting it out here in the world, for you all to just experience it with us. But still, at the end of the day, you have to do the work. Let's not sit in church with our Bibles, writing down the scriptures and not applying them in life. We have to apply these tools in life. And applying them means that they have to be applied all the time.
Yes.
All the time. As he always say when he in healing always. Oh, yes.
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 Always possible.
Yes. Yes. So I want y'all to be gentle with yourselves, because I see some of y'all be writing in and y'all be like, come on, y'all got to be gentle. And I'm telling you firsthand.
Yes.
Really, I'm telling you firsthand, just be gentle with yourself. This can be such an amazing journey. It is. Because when you look back on how far you've come, you be like, oh, you did this shit.
And I love that you said it's okay to do it again. A lot of us feel like it's all or nothing. That's why I don't give homework as a therapist. I give quests.
Yeah.
Because you're going to come back to these questions one day and you're going to answer it differently, and it's going to be bigger and better each time you go through it.
Yeah.
Healing and repetitions.
Yeah. Remember this game of life that we're playing right here? We're playing for peace. We're playing for peace and joy.
I love it.
Yeah. We're playing for peace and joy. And when you have peace and joy, you just want to share it. You just want to share it with everybody. Yeah. You do. You just want to share with everybody. Yeah. Like I said, I love this shit.
Yeah, right. Well, once you got it, look, a gift is only as good as you give it.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. I love this. I love this. All right, Dr. Will, we are here at the end of it. And I thank you. I thank you for sharing such invaluable insights. And to everyone listening, I want you to remember that closure is not just a step in your healing journey, but is a stride toward reclaiming your peace. And Dr. Will, do you have any last words on this series here?
Be kind to yourself and heal always.
I promise you, I'm going to try to get him to say more words than that. Again, Dr. Will, thank you for joining us. And to all of you that tuned in here, I want you to keep prioritizing your self-love journey. And don't forget to join us next time for a more empowering discussion. And remember, you are not alone in this. So until next time, stay loving yourself. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer.